Hi, this is Mark at Dingdong's Garden. During our last harvest video, we kind of ended up with some cuttings that I had prepared for propagation. And here we are 1 month later. And in addition to the Kip Parker and Lawson Dawson that we put in, we also we took some cuttings and did some propagation for Black Prince, Big White, and Galicija. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those out now, and we'll show the counts, and we'll see how that goes. And then later on, we're going to go back out to the field, and I want to talk a little bit about how I'm pruning our mulberry trees that are outside of the hoop house in preparation for winter and next summer. And I also, we still have mulberries out there, so I want to talk about season extensions, and we'll take a look at the last mulberries we have to ripen. And let's start off with Kip Parker. With Kip Parker, I put 60 cuttings in, and 35 are showing signs of life. I mean, it looks like they're going to make it. So that's about a 58% strike rate. They look good, and we're going to, we'll up pot these. We'll probably lose some more when we go to pot them up, but I'm pretty happy with that success rate. And it's the same or better than our success rates with dormant cuttings. The nice thing about doing this in the summer is that you can see here, it still even has some leaves that I left on the cutting that have survived for 30 days. And in my mind, that small little leaf is the little engine that keeps the plant going while it decides whether it's going to establish roots and leaf out. So, but this much foliage, my standard is that when you see stem growth, it indicates that there's roots, and probably some significant roots, because it takes a lot of water for these cuttings to form leaves, and particularly stems. So let's move on to Lawson Dawson. This is the first, the 6 tree pots closest to me are Lawson Dawson, and they don't look good except for this guy here. He's clearly got roots, because they've all been, the leaves immediately fell off of these, and it looked like nothing was going to make it until a few days ago when one showed signs of life. So I'm pretty sure I'll just leave that be. It's been a month. Rooting hormone, it was in our little humidity tent set up here. So Lawson Dawson didn't have a great strike rate, but it might have been in the way I tried to propagate them, or my procedure. I'm not sure, but I will, let's just spin this around. And this is Galicija. And Galicija, I've got about 4 out of the 12 here are showing signs of life, so that's 33%. And with Galicija, and so this is about 3 weeks old, so it's a little younger than the other ones we're looking at. And so we see some buds forming here, some good foliage forming here. But one thing I did do different here is I didn't put rooting hormone on this. So in my leaves that I left on are still doing quite well. They're still viable, and I think they're still providing energy to the plant. So I think in another week, we're going to see some other takes on this. So the rooting, and let's go ahead and look at another one here, and we'll talk about the rooting hormone as well. And here we are with Black Prince. Again, 3 weeks old, sits in a humidity tent for those 3 weeks. And I did not use rooting hormone. And the best I can tell is 11 out of the 18 here, or 61%, are showing some good signs of life. So you can see here that this is viable. This is definitely going to go. The one just on top of it is doing good, and there's a lot of them with swollen buds, which indicate that the plant is ready to go. Again, only 3 weeks, so in another week or 2, we're going to see a lot more signs of life here. So I think I may not use rooting hormone on summer cuttings in the future. And another thing I noticed about the rooting, when I put powdered rooting hormone on the bottom cut, I wonder if it interferes with the water uptake that the plant can do on its own. You know what I mean? Where you take a plant cutting and you stick it directly in water, it will survive for a while because it's pulling water out of that glass of water. But when you put a powdery substance on the bottom of that cut, I wonder if that interferes with the uptake. Who knows? But in this case, I'm probably not going to use rooting hormone on our summer cuttings anymore. And there's one last group here we'll talk about. So this is big white mulberry. 15 out of 27 cuttings are showing life, so that's about 56%. Still got some time. It's only been 3 weeks. We'll let it grow before potting it up. Again, I didn't put any rooting hormone on this, and the leaves, this leaf here is 3 weeks old, and it's still very viable. And I'm sure that it's providing energy and an engine for growth to the cutting while it grows. So kind of in conclusion here, I think I might shift my propagation calendar towards the summer when I can take cuttings that are alive and growing, and I can and give them kind of an engine for growth in a clipped leaf that, it's not too much strain on the plant to pull a little water up for that leaf, but it just gives it some kind of mechanism to keep moving along until it can form roots and leaves. And of course, if you leave any foliage on these things, you have to put it in a humidity tent. And in our case here, it's just a cover over a rack with I think I showed it in the last video. I'll show it here again. It's a cover over a rack with some water, and I'll even use a spray bottle, put water in sometimes to keep the humidity up. But so very happy with these. We'll pot them up in a few weeks. This is the last video for our harvest season, so I may not show it here, but if you all have any questions, please let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them. And now we're going to move back outside, and we're going to go look at some mulberries. It's been 2 months, and I've still got mulberries that I can pick out there. And here we are out in the field, and we're looking at Illinois Everbearing. And the reason I'm out here, let's take a real quick taste. Very good. The reason I'm out here is because it has been 2 months since we first harvested mulberries in our hoop house. And we have some Illinois Everbearing trees here that we're gonna build this row, and it will be our late season row because it's outside the hoop house, and Illinois Everbearing lasts late into the season. So the point I want to make here is there's ways to extend your season by you could cover it up and provide heat, and that accelerates the fruiting period for varieties that fruit early. And if I remember correctly, San Martin, Lawson Dawson, and Galacija were all early season fruiting varieties. So as the varieties that are inside the hoop house finish their fruiting season, the ones outside in the cooler temperatures will start fruiting, and that provides. And then with something like Illinois Everbearing, which is one of the latest crops to ripen, you can have. We've had pickable mulberries here for 2 months, and that doesn't even include pruning in order to get a second harvest, which is certainly a viable option. But to be honest here, our season is so short that if I were to, prune mulberries after a harvest, I'm really not going to get much. But but let's go back over. I want to show you the orchard rows of mulberries. So we're back over here in our mulberry orchard. And these are the mulberry trees that are outside of the hoop house. And I'm going to go in here, and we're going to just take a quick glance at how when we prune it really low and create a lot of leaders, it allows us to keep the mulberries within picking height. So here we are down at the base of a mulberry, and you know, this is about a foot or a foot and a half off the ground. That was where I made my first cut, maybe a year ago. And then last year we had some growth that you can see here. And then I made secondary cuts, and each one of those cuts last year led to further growth this year. This is this year's growth. So this is a very healthy tree, and it's doing well. But what happens is that if I stand up, you can see that everything's within my reach here. And I made a couple more cuts a few weeks ago where you can see more buds going out. So basically, I'm not going to do any more pruning on this because my fruit next year will emerge from these nodes. And if I go through and prune this as if it was an apple or a pear tree, I'm going to end up eliminating a lot of my mulberry harvest for next spring. So we're done pruning here. I only did these last cuts a few weeks ago just to keep it in reaching distance. And I apologize to anybody who's looking for a more comprehensive pruning video, but you know, there's just so many, you know, so much variety in locations and cold hardiness and the season length that I'm a little uncomfortable doing a broad guide for pruning. But the only thing I can say is that if you know, as your mulberry grows, cut it low and for the first year, and then keep cutting it low so that you get these leaders coming out based on the vigor of your tree and the length and heat of your season. That kind of wraps it up for this season. I appreciate everybody watching. If you've enjoyed this, please let us know in the comments. Okay, great. Everybody just have a great week. We'll see you next time.